Alright, so before we do anything, you need to learn the tools of the trade, which is basically the tools of Adobe Illustrator, not to be confused with actual trading. Okay, so I have drawn some stuff here for you so you can see how the different tools are used to manipulate space and shapes, and I've gone ahead and I've written down the shortcuts so you can see what they are. I want you to remember these shortcuts because these are going to be very important and they drastically speed up your workflow. So we have a shape here, and you just see that I use the eyedropper tool by pressing I, and I used the shape tool, which is the rectangle. I'm going to use it again. Don't try to be perfect, it doesn't need to be perfect. Now that is the selection tool, the black one. The direct selection tool now is the white one. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, the direct selection tool, because we want to manipulate the square to round the edges. And this, my friend, is going to be one of your most used tricks because this comes in so handy. You probably know that by now, but if you don't, you will. And you can manipulate it to make completely different shapes. The possibilities are endless. Look at that. Easy, and it looks good, and it's nice because you can also use this to manipulate a lot of different shapes. So yes, you can draw whatever you want from shapes. Everything is a shape. Now you're gonna see me doing stuff and then it just magically goes back to what it was. Ooh, poof. Nope, it's not magic. I'm actually pressing Ctrl Z. And that is one of the useful shortcuts to remember. Please pay attention because that is something you guys are going to be using very often. Now this shape, I have created this shape using the pen tool, and I duplicated that shape by, the typical thing, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Everybody knows that, right? So I'm going to go ahead now and show you how this shape was created. But before I do that, I'm going to show you how to rotate it. Now, reflecting is what I really mean. Reflecting is something that's very useful because if you are drawing something, you don't want to have to take your time drawing both sides because sometimes, our hands are not perfect, so we might not get the same size. So that is very useful. And the reflect tool, the shortcut is O. So pay attention, those shortcuts are going to be very useful going forward in our project. Now the pen tool, very easy to use. These straight lines that you see me getting, I am holding on to shift to get these straight lines. So you use the pen tool, hold on shift, and you'll get a straight line once it is horizontal. Now if it's diagonal, it's not going to work that way. I'm going ahead now using my direct selection tool to manipulate the shape to what I want it to be. It's a good way to manipulate shapes because it allows you to have free range, and you can go from a circle to a square. You can go from a square to a rectangle. You can go from a rectangle to a triangle. As I said, it really is limitless. And you're going to come to find that this is one of your favorite things to do, because this makes everything easier. And everything becomes simple when you look at it this way. So get comfortable with using your direct selection tool because it's going to be your best friend. Now if you want to duplicate something, you really don't want to press Ctrl D. That's wrong. See that? That's not what we want, is it? So pay attention. What am I going to put here? Let's see. Control Alt. That is also wrong, by the way. Let's see what happens when I press Control Alt. That's nice, but that's not what I want to do. What we really are trying to do is we're trying to duplicate, and not just duplicate, but duplicate in a straight line, which is useful when you're doing something like, you know, those projects that require a lot of accuracy. So the real way to do it is Shift Alt. I'm going to show you. Hold on, Shift Alt. You see that? It is completely in line with what I had there before. And this comes in very useful for repetition. Say you have horns on your dinosaur, or maybe you just want to do bullet points, and maybe you don't know how to use the bullet points, so you want to create your own. This is how you would do that. Maybe you have a son and you want to manipulate the points, you know how we draw them as children, you know. All of that is stuff that you need to pay attention to, because this is also another very useful trick. This, along with the reflection tool and the direct selection tool. So guys, remember these useful shortcuts. They will be your best friend. See you guys in the next video.